Hey guys, welcome to a very special edition of Choose Happiness. I had the privilege to interview the incredibly talented Carlo Sciortino, Hollywood producer, director, writer, actor, published author, business owner. There's really nothing this guy can't do. And you should really check out his social media links because there's also abs to be seen. Really, he is as beautiful on the inside as he is on the outside. So enjoy my interview with Carlo Sciortino. Hey guys, so I'm here with Carlo Sciortino. Good to see you. Thanks so much for
Good to see
joining
you too.
us.
Yeah, of course. I love being here.
Awesome. So, actor, producer, writer, trainer, surfer. Yeah?
Yeah,
All right,
yeah,
the list goes on and on and on. You have been so successful. I'm sure along the way you've hit obstacles, as we all have. And
right.
since we're here on Choose Happiness, can you share with us how do you choose happiness on a daily basis, no matter what's going on around you?
Oh, I think it's a matter of perspective. It's everyone's got their bad days. I have bad days all the time, but I think that if you think about one thing of success that you've had that trumps anything else that you've done in your life. I never thought I'd be an actor or producer, writer, that kind of stuff. So when I look at that kind of stuff, that gives me this hope that nothing's completely static. No, things can always change, and you can always find a new version of yourself in the unknown that you haven't experienced yet. And then just in the present, in the day, the things that make me happy are the people I surround myself with, or the people who give me hope. And so that's why I have such a small circle of support behind that.
Mm,
In
mhm,
my rough days, if I reach out to these people, I know that they're not gonna sugarcoat things. They're not going to make me feel like falsely secure. They're going to make
mhm.
sure that I have what I need to push forward. And that's why, yeah, I
That's
call it.
really good. No, that's great. It's especially because I think sometimes we are friends with people because we think we should be, or
Mhm.
they can maybe do something for us or whatever. But it really
Yeah,
comes down to being people around you who really lift you up when you need it.
yeah. There is this type of like this sense of belonging where we feel like we have to be. I don't want to say just be nice to everybody, but I think that we're too nice to understand the people who make us happy versus the people who don't make us happy, and that bogs us down, and then we wonder why we aren't as happy. And I feel like it's because we spent our budget on people who weren't going to make our lives profitable in that sense.
I love that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Hashtag. That's so great. Thank you.
Yeah, that's my next book right there. It's about
Excellent. That'll be great. So, do you have a personal motto that you try to live by?
yeah, yeah. I mean, in regards to happiness, there's two things that I say. I've always defined happiness as being doing what you love, loving what you do, and sharing that with the people you love. And so if you can't have that concoction, then there's always going to be something missing from your life about it. If you can't
Mm,
do your passion and go travel the world and or play music, or just sit down and draw or art, whatever the case is, and if you can't love what you do and the minutia of your day, and go and like love driving to work, if you can't love those things, then you're always going to be unhappy with stuff. And then the biggest part is sharing that with people you love, and a lot of people will try and share it with people who are similar to them, or whatever the case is. But just in how I mentioned the support group that I have, they're
mhm,
not actors and writers and producers, but they're there for me, and that's the
mhm.
I love. And so if I can share my triumphs and my tribulations with them, then the that's the idea of like the sharing that with who they love. And so the sharing part is the quote, the motto that I say all the time. It's called "Share the Stoke," and I kind of like got that. I got that going maybe like, I don't know, 5 years ago or so. Just you get this passion about something, doesn't matter what it is. You could just be excited that a new movie's coming out, or something simple like, I don't know, you got like some cool dessert that you've never tried before. I don't know. But there's this overwhelming passion, and nobody understands why you're so excited about it. And that's being stoked about something. That's like,
Mm.
it's like unrestrained happiness, you know,
Mm.
like it's bubbling at the top, and you're almost like this weird kid in the room who just like nobody, but just you just doing it because you're relentlessly, unapologetically you, and that's kind of like how you develop this stuff. And that's great, and that's all fine and dandy. I see people who get stoked about things all the time, myself included. But if you can't give that to somebody else, if you can't share that experience with somebody, if you can't, um, I don't know, not saying educate, but if you can't show people that that stoke can transform and that can be transferred to somebody else,
Right.
then it stops right there. And so sharing the stoke is very much like, it's very much like, I mean, in the spirit of the holidays, it's very much like having this holiday spirit where you're going around and you're gifting that to somebody else. But it's not a requirement; it's something that just happens. You know, it's a thing that happens when you consider somebody else outside of yourself, even in that moment of pure bliss. Because bliss is a very personal thing, and if you're able to kind of step outside yourself only for a second, then that's sharing the stoke. And I see that happen a lot with the creative arts, because people understand that you're creative and then this other person's creative. Hey, how about I service you because I know how this community works, sort of thing.
Mm.
So I've seen that a lot happen in Hollywood. I've seen that not a lot of that happen in Hollywood, uh,
For
but
sure.
I do see that happen a lot with the certain life, like the activities that I choose to do, whether it's traveling or surfing or acting or whatever the case is. I always see
Mhm.
someone trying to share the stoke, and so I share the stoke by trying to encourage people to share the stoke.
I love it. I think I need a shirt. I think
Yeah,
I
I know.
for
Yeah,
sure.
I need to make like this really cool like logo, share the stoke kind of
Yeah,
thing.
I'm in. That sounds great. Oh, that's
Yeah,
wonderful. And what I especially love about that is I believe, happiness really is, doubled when it's shared, or it's exponentially gets better when it's shared. And
right,
so it's so great that it's not just like, look how great this is. You're consciously lifting other people up to join you. And
right.
it's one of those things where you never know what someone else is going through. They
Mhm.
might have had a bad day, and then there you are, and they're like, oh, look, life is good. So
Yeah,
I would imagine you probably touch more people than you even know by doing that. And that's fantastic.
probably. It makes me excited to experience people who like they're not, they're in a very good place in their lives, but just the outside perspective of that sharing the stoke kind of thing. I have two best friends who they've entered the path of parenthood, and so they're adventurers, they're travelers, and they're very free spirited as far as just living life. And I always remember they'd always say that they don't feel like they're adventurous enough anymore. And I'd remind them that, like, no, they're on this awesome adventure of a lifetime, because there's so much more to unfold. And like I just keep on reminding, and it's not that they don't know it. It's just like that's the idea of sharing the stoke, is that you
Mhm.
have these moments where people who are amazing and they're inspiring to you and all these different things just have just a blip of um I don't know, they need to be reassured or something like that. And then
Mhm.
the sharing the stoke isn't just something where you're lifting somebody up for the sake of lifting somebody up. You're lifting somebody up because they've once lifted you up, where you see something in them that inspires you, and that's why you share the stoke, because that's, you wouldn't be stoked around this person if they didn't inspire you to be stoked.
Right. Oh, that's so terrific.
Yeah.
And, we talk a lot about making this choice where you can look at all the bad stuff going on and just be like, oh, I'm so down. But making that choice every day, every minute, sometimes, um,
Right.
to choose happiness.
Mhm.
And you made the choice some years ago. You had a very successful career where you grew up. You made
Mhm.
the choice to move all the way out to California, pursue your dream.
Yeah.
And if you could share one or two things that you really learned when you stepped out of that comfort zone, which is so difficult to do.
Oh yeah. I mean, I always thought of myself as this more of an introverted kind of person, very cerebral in my processes, and when I stepped out of that comfort zone, you realize that that's just the perception of yourself. Even if it's something that you know to be true, it's not actually uh, just a thought you have about yourself. This self-esteem thing, it's more of just your entire atmosphere can change, and you will probably too. And that's when I went to LA. I never thought that I would get as far as I did. I never thought I would get as far. that quickly as I did. And I think that got brought on by my tenacity to try something different. I had developed this whole system to try and uh, minimize my life so that it made it easier to manage, especially in such a new environment. And yeah, I learned a lot about how I'm able to persevere through through just things that you think that would be like not possible. I know that a lot of people never thought I would be working on a movie with The Rock or something like that, and then like a couple months later, that's what was happening, and it was just like this whole surreal thing. And in those instances, I would end up learning about myself that it's really how much you invest in yourself. I know a lot of people will, myself included. I used to get these things. I'd invest so much time into other people, and not that that's not a good thing. It's good to consider other people when you're doing stuff. But if you're not your number one priority, then, you know, who's going to make you a priority? And I think that's what I learned the most about stepping outside that comfort zone, is how much success can come from you making yourself a priority.
Wow. Now I'm curious, were you discouraged? Were you encouraged? Because I know sometimes you're going to make this big change and people say, why do you want to do that? And you really have to dig deep and find within yourself to make
Yeah.
that choice.
Well, of course, everybody wanted me to do what they thought was best for me, and so having the stability of where I was, or having the access to the support groups I had, or those types of things, everyone was kind of like, well, are you sure this is something for you? You're a little bit older than most people who make that leap. But I did have a lot of encouragement from my family and friends, because they knew that I was meant to do more. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that people don't have to be, they don't have to be the discover the talent in you to be able to let you go, or like, they don't have to understand every in and out of what you like to do or where you see yourself, but they just have to enable you to do something that lights you up as much as whatever.
Mm.
So that's what it is that when it was like, where are you most happy? What do you like to do? And I said, I like being on sets. It's when I was in college, I did a creative writing program, and we'd have these workshops, and 20 people would come in with different ideas, and we'd all write and kind of do like a telephone thing around the room, writing this thing. And no one was wrong. Everyone was just, um, uh, had more substance when it came to the project being done. And that's what I saw when I was on a movie set, is that there's thousands of people who have tons of different ideas, but in the end you have one goal. And I think that's what's so cool about the production side of things with film and TV, is that that's that's what happens on production. It's very much like a symphony, an orchestra of music
Mm.
happening in this weird stage, but also it's just this workshop of people. No one's going to try and disservice you. They're just going to try and continue in this path to complete this project. And so that's what I enjoy the most about that, and that's what makes me most happy, because I've grown up around that for so much. And so that's when people saw me light up about that, they knew it would be, they knew it would be wrong to not encourage me to do that.
Right. And that's a really good point, because I think people can look at, what I love that term, what lights me up, and then make a choice based on that.
Right.
People get
Yeah.
stuck in, I have to do this, I should do this is what's expected of me. But if that doesn't light you up, as we know, they become unhappy. So,
Yeah.
you could write a book. Oh,
I
wait.
could.
So tell us about what you're working on now and where we can find you.
Yeah. So the most recent thing that's come out for me is a book I've written. It's called A BTS Story, so behind the scenes story, barely surviving Los Angeles. So it can be found on Kindle and Amazon. And you can search my name, Carlo Sciortino. You can search A BTS Story, barely surviving Los Angeles, whatever is to come up. But it's a book literally about my entire first year. A lot of people, especially in the second year, started asking me a lot about how I was able to do the things I was able to do in Los Angeles, considering my background. And so I kind of gave a snapshot of what had drove me to make that decision on my own, and then sort of gave an encapsulated version of the entire year, each chapter being a year. So that was the book I've written, and I titled it A BTS Story. A lot of people were curious as to why it was called a BTS story, and it's because I probably will end up writing other BTS stories. I'll probably end up writing about like just the nature of like what actors go through, and make that more of like a how to do certain list of things or whatever. And but I've also been working on a bunch of TV shows. I know that recently um, I had I had a Sprint commercial release this past couple months, so that's been a fun thing to watch happen. Um, I'm producing a TV show. It's titled I Am. So this is like an exclusive because I haven't told anybody that I'm doing it. No one really knows. Like, I think some people saw the casting breakdown on Actors Access, and I got a lot of emails about that, which was great. I always love that. I understand casting directors who get unsolicited uh, requests to be cast in their project. But so I'm producing that. We're filming that in January, and so we'll be shopping that around as well to see how studios receive that. If not, I'll just keep on producing it because I love the passion about it. I've written the episodes, so I'm very stoked to see these performers bring it to life. And I've been working on another show too called Background and Extra Experience, which is very much a comedy about kind of the lifestyle I lived in Los Angeles. But I know a lot of people can relate to it. It's got that that dry humor, Parks and Rec kind of vibe to it. So it's cool to see people get invested in that. So those are two shows that I'm working on. And yeah, and obviously I'm still acting too. So some people are like, "Oh, the acting thing wasn't for you. You're just producing now." I'm like, "No, I'm still acting. It's just sometimes you just got to make your own path."
Sure.
So
Wow, I think that's great. Again, making that choice. I'm not
yeah,
just going to do what everybody else says. I'm going to do what really lights me up and what makes me happy.
right, yeah,
Amazing. Well, all that information is going to be right down there in the podcast.
of course, yeah.
Carlo, thank you so much for
Thank you
joining
so much,
us.
Rachel. Yeah, I love being here. Thank you so much.
Great to see you. Share the
Great.
Stoke.
Yeah, share the Stoke. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.